welcome to the Magnet for Love podcast. Does the idea of meeting the man of your dreams seem impossible to you? We are here to help you. This is your host, Lorna Poole, sharing the secrets of men, love, and relationships, so you too can succeed in love. Haven't found the one yet? Looking for some answers? Head on over to www.lornapoole.com to find out more. Welcome everybody, welcome to the Magnet for Love podcast. With me today is Barry Selby, and he is the author, speaker, and relationship expert on attraction. He is a passionate champion for divine feminine. His service is helping strong, successful, committed women to own and live their feminine power, so they attract their true, divine, masculine partner in relationships and become a powerful force in the world. His book, 50 Ways to Love Your Lover, is a #1 bestseller, and he's an in-demand inspirational speaker about love, romance, and passionate relationships. Barry is a dynamic and heartfelt speaker and coach. His background and passion for learning informs his work, and he loves to help others live authentically and successfully so they can live more fully from their hearts and love more completely. Barry, great to have you here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
First of all, let's talk about, I feel, that women get a little bit confused about what feminine energy is.
Mm-hmm.
So let's clarify what you mean by that.
Well, the best way I can say it is that in my own dating experience and a lot of my clients, I see a lot of women out there who have been, I won't say programmed is a harsh word, but they've been basically educated to think that they need to live life like a man in terms of getting things done, achieving their goals, getting things happening, and having lots of stuff going on. And they tend to be very bullish about getting things done because, especially if they're entrepreneurs, they have this drive to be successful and to be on the same terms as men. And what happens is they tend to emulate a lot of the ways that men work, which is competitive, combative, getting things done, being driven, all these things. And then when they get into dating and relationships, they transfer the skills there too, and that really messes up their love life. Basically what they end up doing is they sort of emasculate their men by doing so because they do it better than he can.
Yeah, it really just doesn't work in the love ring, does it?
No, not at all. And what a woman is...
Another thing as well I just want to bring up very quickly. Because a lot of women don't really understand what feminine energy is or how to act like, which we'll get into in a minute, is that they think that feminine energy is weakness. So I'd love you to clarify why it's not a weakness.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Something about being feminine, some women think means being like a girl. So it means being like either being very like weak or being like a housewife, stay at home and not be like out in the world. So some women look at feminine as being this waifish or limited way of being, which is exactly the opposite of what it is to be truly feminine.
Yeah. And but the secret is that men are weak at the knees for feminine energy, right?
That's a great way of putting it. Absolutely. Let me say it this way. A man who's in his heart, in his masculine heart, because some macho men don't get it, but when a man really is living in his truth, if his woman is feminine, it just goes straight through to his heart and he feels it. It's a beautiful experience.
So for the women who are listening today, and of course the men as well, explain for a woman that, she's been told or, she's got this feedback from men that perhaps she's hard to get to know, very strong-minded or whatever, and they're all wonderful traits. But how can she bring that feminine energy and still keep her that strong, successful woman that helps her be a great entrepreneur?
Well, the thing that truly for me, what the feminine energy is about, this is a whole piece of discussion that could take hours to explain, so I'll try and give you the highlights. The feminine strength, the feminine power is really in experiencing the love of the journey and being in the process of evolving. And part of it is for women in the feminine is that they express themselves in a way that is collaborative and cooperative. There's something that really is more cohesive and more effective for women when they are not trying to compete and beat down each other so they can win. And that's what, unfortunately, women have been trained to do by the way the men have basically been functioning to a large degree. And when women are in that place, first of all, when women are in their feminine energy, which is heart-driven more than mind-driven, by the way, they're also more healthy in a way. There's actually what happens. I don't have the chemical reaction necessarily the way it's described, but a friend of mine who's a health coach talks about how women's adrenals, women's hormonal balance is definitely improved and restored when they're in their feminine energy. It's an energetic balance in their bodies. So it's good for their health as well as their life. And it's important to know both are supported.
And, you know, for men, it's a big turn-off when a woman's not in her feminine energy. What really attracts them to it?
Sorry, I missed the last part you said. What really attracts?
Sorry, what really attracts a man to the feminine energy? Like what really lights a man up?
Well, I can't speak for all men because I'm not all men, but certainly for myself and for those men I know well in the work that we do. What really draws us in is a woman who basically knows who she is. She's confident in her feminine, confident in her heart, and trusts herself. So she's not trying to put on an act and be something she's not, or trying to dominate the conversation. She just lives in a place that is very strong, but very feminine. And this is the piece about feminine that a lot of women don't understand. Their feminine power is, and I'll put the reference on this, compared to a man's power, because most of a man's power is in his physical strength, in his presence, in his beingness, but a woman's energy is the life force of the world. So her power is actually much greater. And if she trusts that, she doesn't need to express it. She can just live in it with gentility and grace that is deceptively soft. But it's so much more than that. And frankly, for that, it's very exciting for a man to meet. So when a man meets a woman who's in a feminine, she's really attracting him, but there's also this daringness because he knows if she's in her feminine power that she could destroy him energetically. The power the feminine bring is massive, and it's such a gift to the world, which is why I'm so passionate about this. But I know that for us men, we can never achieve that level, which is why I believe in the past many men have tried to suppress that in the women because they wanted to control or run or dominate them, which is not necessarily what women really want or need.
And feminine energy is kind of like a creative energy, like a lightness, right brain, they say as well, yes. Right? And then yes. A masculine energy is more like logic, dominance. Is that correct?
Yeah. Another way of saying it is that the masculine energy is goal-driven to the end result, getting things done, and completions. So the masculine energy is about is endings, like got it done, complete, over, great. The feminine energy is really about enjoying the love of the journey and the experience of what life is about. They say that your Mother Nature and how that's the feminine energy. Well, that's what the feminine energy is. It's this experience of growth, of evolution, of the experience of the journey. And there's a love of that, and it's a different polarity. And the recognition is that when we have masculine and feminine energy together, there's a polarity there, which is what creates the attraction in the first place. Like the yin and the yang, or black and white, and it's those extremes that create the attraction. So having the circuit for men and women to be, men is about completion, feminine is about the journey, it's that opposition that creates attraction.
Yeah, I like that. I know personally, as a woman myself, that I find feminine men repulsive. You know?
You're not the only one.
I'm just not attracted to it. Whereas, when he takes the lead and he's just that, you feel like he can rescue or fix things, but yet, he can be your equal or whatever. It's just so attractive.
Right. And to be honest, because I speak from my own experience, I didn't get that until about 11 years ago. I was doing I've been on this journey for 30 years, and very deep study into personal growth and human development and spiritual studies. But I didn't realize that when I was really embodying was more of a feminine energy without even realizing it, because I didn't understand the polarity back then. So the last 11 years have been a deep study for myself and a shift of my own, I'll say polarity, or a shift of my own beingness that I've shifted back into what is really my true authentic nature, which is masculine. And now I see from experience how far out of alignment I was. So I totally get now why women were attracted to who I was back then. It was it was actually kind of, oh my God, did I not know any different? It was this shock and surprise looking in hindsight.
Yeah, because I think for a lot of men, when they're not in their masculine energy, they're ending up in the friend zone.
That's a pretty much guaranteed experience, yes.
Yeah, and it is about owning your masculine energy. And, you know, as you say, you get strong, successful women who are not owning their feminine energy, and they go on a date with a man, and they're like, they might, you know, the man might say, well, where would you like to go? And she would say, oh no, you choose. But then when he chooses, she doesn't like it.
Yes.
She hates the food. She makes a different suggestion. That's when you're coming across as emasculating the guy, right?
That's a light version of what can happen, yes. There are much more devious ways that women can do that. And frankly, it's the same pattern, the same experience each time. That men, and I'm laughing because I've been there. I did that in past relationships, so I know how painful, but also how blind it can be not knowing how to do it differently. And for women, it is this adjustment in a way because some have been trained by their past relationships and by maybe their upbringing to be in their masculine, so they do take charge and run the show and don't have patience for a man to take charge and lead as well. So it's both sides of the conversation are involved.
Yeah. And I always see as well that, like, for women, we don't want to have to spell it out to you that it's my birthday next week. We want you to know that.
Yes, that's a good thing.
And pick the place and everything, you know, and that's being in his masculine energy when he's, of course she has to show interest or, you know, communicate by all means. But it is about, you know, you watch these Hollywood movies, which I always say never watch, but anyway, we secretly do want that guy that's going to go the extra mile for us.
Right.
And when you're in your feminine energy, you allow a guy to do that.
Yes, it's the polarity that makes relationship attraction so strong because it's this sense of the dance that we have in a relationship. If we're both on the same side of the fence, energetically, there's no chemistry, there's no attraction, there's no sexuality there. So absolutely needs to have that dance where each partner is on the opposite side of that spectrum.
And sexuality is a big part of feminine energy, right? It's that essence of a woman.
Yes, and men have it too, but differently. And it's the recognition of the difference that makes it work. You know, the feminine and the masculine, again, when you get sexual chemistry and the polarity, it's wonderful stuff. And it's how amazing you can plant the seeds of that so much earlier than when you're in the bedroom, because that's the whole point, is that sex isn't just about being in the bedroom. It's an experience of life.
I like the way you said that, experience of life. So explain a little bit when a woman's in her sexual feminine energy and a man is, what that looks like.
The feminine energy is one of attraction. The masculine's about achievement or of hunting. And this is what I've decided to go for my own teachers. So the masculine energy is, as one way of putting it, is penetrating. The feminine energy is receptive and receiving. And so in the polarity, it's again this yin and yang balance, or just the yin and yang dance. And a woman's sexuality it's the way she shines her light in a way. It's the way that she brings herself to the world, the way she dresses, the way she presents, the way she moves, the way she speaks, the way she acts. The sexual energy can flow through all of that, and it is a very attractive thing for most men who are really aware, because some men can be oblivious to this, but most men who are aware, it's like suddenly the light goes on and go, whoa, who's that? What's that about? And it gets very attractive. But the masculine energy isn't about a rabid dog going, oh, excited, and wants to chase after it. A truly masculine man, his sexuality comes from his stillness, comes from his presence and his space he holds that is so strong that she can feel safe.
That's a big thing for women. And you describe that so well. That's beautiful. that receiving energy of feminine energy and that stillness and presence where she feels safe in masculine energy. Yeah.
Right.
And as you say, I remember a guy I worked with in the USA, and my friend really, really liked him, and he really was, he had no idea. Still to this day.
I would say I feel sorry for him, but I was there myself. I went through that, over about 15, 20 years of the work I was doing, I did that.
And you will really struggle with women when you don't understand how to stand in energy. Yeah. Yeah. I really feel this subject is so big, but a lot of people don't really understand it. So we've had an amazing conversation today. What I want to ask you now is what I ask at all our interviews, and that is, what is that one thing of everything we've talked about today that if you were to give somebody this one thing they need to do, or that aha, what would it be?
So on the spot with that one, okay, I would say the best thing I recommend for everybody out there, men and women always, is your best line of attracting what you want is to love yourself first. I have a practice I recommend to my clients, which is simply just a mirror exercise, which is taking 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening to look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself, so you connect, and do that every day and watch how your life changes.
I love that, because when you love who you are, you're going to look after your health, you're going to look after yourself physically, you're going to look after your mind, and you're just going to ooze.
That's exactly the point.
Well, people don't get this. So tell me this, Barry, how do we find out more about you? And what's that coffee you want to talk about?
Best way to find me is go to my website or social media. I mean, thankfully, everything is all under my name, which is easy to find. So you go to my website, which is barryselby.com. And I'm sure the information will be in the notes for this podcast. And I'm also offering a free gift. I have discovered how many people don't have a clue about romance and how to find it. So what I've basically did was do some research and came up with over 120, 130 different ideas about romance that you can do and create if you're on a first date or you're in a 50th year of a relationship. They always work. And if you want that, you can get it from my website. It's called Adventures in Romance. That's what I called it. And it's basically an ebook you can get from me directly. The link will be in the notes.
Thank you, Barry. Great to have you here. And I just want to say very briefly, remember, if you enjoyed this podcast, to check out more episodes like this on www.lornapool.com/podcast. And on the page there, you will see our Facebook group, and we'd love to have you in there joining in with us and getting to know us better. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on the Magnet for Love podcast. Excited and feeling ready to meet the man of your dreams, but don't know where to start? Feel like you've no idea what you're doing to get it right this time? Ready to get some answers? Then head on over to www.lornapool.com and let's get you living the life and love you've always dreamt of.